Welcome to another edition of In the Winner's Circle. Renee Cairns along with Jennifer Morrison, each and every episode brought to you by the HPBA of Ontario. Last week we were full of stake races. This week only two to look at, Saturday and Sunday. But first, let's close the book on last week with your top three things that you noticed. What do you got for us?
Well, it's hard. I mean, it's like you said, there was a stakes race Wednesday night with Essence Hitman winning. There was stakes races last night at Woodbine. There was a stakes race Tuesday at Fort Erie. Anyways, I narrowed some of the things down I thought were interesting. How about the Nijinsky Stakes? That was a big race, $200,000. These are our best long-distance turf horses, and of course, everybody was looking for Riding the River to win again.
Yeah.
But how about So Long George coming into his own? You know, this gelding, he cost $50,000 as a yearling. He began his career for $32,000 claiming. And even last fall he was running for $23,500. Now he's surging. He's by Arch, one of the best, top sires in North America of grass horses. So Long George, one to watch. 95 buyer winning the Nijinsky Stakes.
I wonder if maybe that turf course, as hard as it was not just didn't suit everybody.
Oh, certainly. I mean, the times we saw for the grass races.
How about X-Caper, 103/4 and 107?
Yeah, and 6.5 and 119, or 7 furlongs, 119. Unbelievable. I mean, the track, certainly that would be a little bit stinging for some of the horses, perhaps. But obviously, George liked it.
So Long George had no issues.
He said so long. The Collins Stakes was a good little race, a 2-year-old race, and there was a big favorite in there from Mark Casse, a Conquest 2-step. But how about this beautiful 2-year-old of John Ross's, Go Greeley, who was coming back in a week and led all the way to win. He ran an 80 buyer, which puts him actually on the list of some of the higher buyers of all 2-year-olds in North America. It's such a nice little story because, Go Greeley was bought for $40,000 last year at the yearling sale by Jam Jar, the late Bud Reynolds. And John Ross has the horses now. And it's just a nice story. Go Greeley, a nice 2-year-old to watch. And my last one is not a stakes result. It's a color. Wait. It's Ian Black. How many races did these guys win last week?
Ran 8, won 4.
Ran 8, won 4 last week. Crushing hard on the grass. Dee's Perfect Soul on the grass. X-Caper on the grass.
And another race on the grass as well.
Tapo the Mountain on the grass.
Top of the mountain.
Yeah. So, I mean, incredible. And like you said, X-Caper coming off the layoff. How well prepared was he? 119 and 4 for 7 furlongs. So, great week for the Black institution over there. So, good going.
So, that was then. This is now. A couple of my favorite races for the 3-year-olds that we have on our circuit take place on the turf. We had the Charlie Barley, which was run Plate Weekend.
Yes.
That was at a mile.
Correct.
And now we have the follow-up to that, which is the Toronto Cup, also for the 3-year-olds, a mile and an 8. So maybe you want to look for a horse that was rallying.
Certainly, and this year's Toronto Cup is actually a race where you have to wonder which of these horses is going to be comfortable.
I'm wondering.
Going the mile and 8 distance. Your favorite, Sky Commander got placed first to the Charlie Barley. Yep. We all saw that. It was a lengthy inquiry where Golden Sabre won. Now, he's not back in the Toronto Cup.
It could have gone either way. I personally thought the horse should have come down.
Yeah, I think. I think it. It was pretty close, but it didn't seem. It seemed to be the right thing to do. Unfortunately, even though I had Golden Sabre, but Sky Commander is 3 for 3 since he's been gelded. So I mean, he obviously has turned over a new leaf, and he's already won the going a mile and 16th. So he's going to be the big favorite in here. Are You Kidding Me was in the Charlie Barley, and, he just fell so far behind. I don't know what was going on there. The blinkers on, the fast 5/8 work, 59. Roger Atfield saying, okay, let's inject some speed. Let's get this guy into the race. Now, the only thing I would say about him is when you watch his races at a mile or more, he makes a move, but he tends to hang. So, for Emma Jane, who's taking over on him for the first time, she's going to have to watch, I think. Now she's dealing with a horse that's got a great stretch kick, but he's got blinkers on. She's probably going to have to just be careful that he makes his move at the right time because Sky Commander will be coming. I don't see anybody else as a contender in here, but...
who I've watched train? I think speed could come from 5 Iron. I just happen to be out there to watch this horse train every now and then. I got to tell you, Brian Lynch must scratch his head or bang it against the wall, one of the two, because 5 Iron is probably one of the toughest horses to train. A lot of times he just doesn't want to go.
Really?
He will not turn around and go. I watched him go for a half a mile where the rider was very patient, kept trying to turn him, wouldn't go. Jogged a little bit further the back way. Wouldn't go.
Boy,
I
oh
saw
boy.
them going out with the pony, and I said, "It's 5 iron." Yep, that's 5 iron. So that is tough when you have a horse that you can't train at your own leisure. They do what you want them to do when you want them to do it. That makes it extremely tough. So 5 iron. I got to give kudos to Brian Lynch. I didn't know that about him in Contreras Rise. I mean, the horse has talent, but he does have attitude as well.
Well, I mean, certainly they've done well with him, considering all of that. I mean,
Yeah.
200,000 in the bank. He just won the Victoria Park Stakes, leading all the way. His only race on the grass was his first start of this year at Keeneland. He had a wide post, and he probably went too fast early. Yeah, no, it's obviously a horse to watch in post breed and all that. For sure.
One more word maybe about Ray. Remember when he broke his maiden first time out last October? He was the favorite. He won as the favorite. He's only run 3 times since then and had a big break between a race in January at Gulfstream where he got beaten behind some pretty nice horses and resurfaced in an other than on Plate Day back on the 7th of July.
This is a beautiful, big, chunky chestnut colt by Leroy des Animaux, and he's a half brother to a horse that won all kinds of money on the grass. I mean, this horse is bred to be a turf miler. His turf race was a little bit better than it actually looks on paper, and never mind the fact that the first 2 finishers came back and are very good horses.
They're really nice horses.
This
Even
is
Snake Pit, the 3rd place finisher, is a pretty decent horse. As well.
No, I mean this Ray horse is quite an interesting prospect. Again, I'm a little bit curious about the 1.125 distance for him. Leroy des Animaux was a miler, but the female family is a little bit less than a mile, so we'll have to see how he does. But he's such a cool horse to look at. Big chunk.
Very
Beautiful
nice.
horse.
So it'll be interesting to see how he does in that race. So while 1.125 is the distance for the stake race for the 3-year-olds on Saturday, we've got the girls in the spotlight on Sunday afternoon as we cut back to 3/4 for the Royal North. It's a grade 3 and a field of 7 has been assembled. Remember how many times Y. Catherine got scratched last year because the races came off the turf. She's so good on turf, and she really cannot run a jump on poly track.
Yeah,
and usually it translates well.
Yeah,
but not for her.
Oh yeah, no, she cannot stand up on anything other than the grass. And she's a nose and a neck away from winning her last 4 races. She really is coming into her own.
Horse.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she had a clear lead last time in the Zadra Carta Stakes, cutting back now to 6 furlongs. The interesting thing about the Royal North, we have last year's winner in the race, Roxy Gap, who is, a tremendous mare, but she hasn't raced since last November, and in fact, since then, went through the sales ring in January, was sold for a big pile of money, and then the new buyers gave her back to Eugene Melnick after the sale, or a little bit later. So she's coming off. I guess there was something about they had agreement if they weren't completely satisfied with the way she was. He would take her back? Yeah, he would take her back. Okay. And I don't think he really wanted to sell her anyways. I mean, I can't remember what the sum was, but it was, it was a big sum of money. Anyways, I think he's really in love with her. And look at $866,000.
Why wouldn't you be?
She won this race last year. But, I'm not going to be betting a horse like Roxy Gap as much as I like her. She loves a turf sprint. But off the layoff with some Sharpies in here, I think the horse that is going to win this race
is
Heavenly Pride. Okay. I absolutely think that this is her day that she is going to win. She's been picked in 2 races. The Hendry was a huge race off the long layoff. She was 15-1, got nailed by Delightful Mary.
Yeah.
And then a month later in the Sweetbriar 2, the race didn't really go her way because the pace was kind of slow, and she was up there on the pace. But she battled all the way and got beat a neck, finished 3rd. She's 2 for 5 on the turf, and I think 2 for 5 on the turf, and she's a great turf sprinter. I think she's going to win this. You gotta love a horse like Sensible Lady for the exotics because this is like her 8th track she's been to with Shipper, and she
does move around,
and she is an absolutely, perfect turf sprinter. I mean, and she doesn't mind a turf course with a little bit of give into it. So she's going to be coming late. Not a lot of speed in the race. Little River, the big long shot here, is going to be leading. So, I think White Catherine is got to, get close, stay in the game. But I think Heavenly Pride wins the Royal North.
What about Catlore, the other ship-in horse, going for Michael Stidham?
Yep, she only had two
She's won at the
attempts.
distance.
She's won the distance.
She's won 4 on the grass, 4 of 11. She's made $150,000 on the turf. When she won at the distance, it was against Either Then at Kentucky Downs on a soft turf. But she's run well on both a firm turf and a yielding turf course, sort of anything in the middle.
Yep,
as
she's
well.
only had 2 stakes races though, and she
Yeah.
didn't really, she was third and fourth. This is a graded stakes race. I think she might be just a little bit below at this point,
Mm-hmm.
but she's a filly that's obviously on her way up. She's been busy this year actually. She's been going since January and had quite a few races and comes off a win for sure. But I think Heavenly Pride is the one.
I'll go with Sensible Lady.
Is that because it's named after you?
I was going to say it's named after you, but that's
totally
okay.
Wrong. There you go.
I am sensible some of the time. So that's a stake action at Woodbine. However, on Tuesday, trying something brand new, Fort Erie has opted to put the Prince of Wales on a Tuesday afternoon card. Generally, the post time for Tuesday is 4:15.
Yes.
Expecting, they haven't drawn yet, so we don't really have a look at the complete field, but expecting about 7 or 8 horses with Uncaptured, I think, being the headliner in there.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, Midnight Aria has had a long season, and trainer Nick Gonzalez has decided in the benefit to the horse, he's going to keep him out of the race, the Queen's Plate winner. So unfortunately, 3rd year in a row that the Plate winner is not at Fort Erie. But, the presence of Uncaptured makes it very interesting, and Mark Cassidy won the Prince of Wales last year with Dixie Strike for John Oxley. Uncaptured, arguably the best 3-year-old in the
Big Red
Prince
Mike
of
went
Wales.
to the Prince of Wales.
Yeah, but
That was 2 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah.
So not the
2010.
past 3 years, maybe the past 2
This is
years.
the 3rd year in a row that the Plate winner hasn't gone.
But that brings us to this.
Yes.
The Big Red Mike thing in
Yes.
Prince of Wales, and Midnight Area not going. Didn't get in touch with Nick because he's down at Fort Erie. But caught up with Martha Gonzalez today, and she is our 2 minutes with, talking about Midnight Area and River 7, who will be going in the Prince of Wales.
All right, Midnight Aria actually came out of his race, out of the Queen's Plate very well. But we opted, just because he ran 7-8 times and been running at Gulfstream all winter, to bypass the Prince of Wales and give him a little break. From past experience with Big Red Mike, we realized that it was a hot day and he did the same route, and it was really hard on him. After he did Prince of Wales, he was kind of finished for the rest of the year and was just not the same horse. So we decided just to give him a little break and turn him out and play it by ear with him and just see what happens. River 7 is going to go to the Prince of Wales, just because he was in the 12 hole, and from my understanding, talking to the riders after the race, is that the further out onto the racetrack he went after the storm is the worse the track and the deeper the track got. So he came out of the race plate very well, and we just decided that it wasn't really a fair track being out from, as I say, from the 12 hole, to make a good judge and call that a really good race. So we had him at Gulfstream all winter, and he really trained exceptionally well on the dirt. And I've breezed him a few times on the training track here in the dirt, and breezed well and seems to handle it. So I don't think that will be an issue. We're also hoping and opting for a shorter field and make it just, very comfortable for him. Rico De Silva is going to ride him back, which he was the one that won the stake on him last year, so I was kind of happy to, have him entertain me again. And we're keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for the best.
So you learn from experience.
Absolutely.
They learned about Big Red Mike. It pretty
Yeah.
much fried them for the rest of the season. They don't want to do the same thing with Midnight Area. They're both front-running horses. It was a hot day. It was a rainy. It was a very rainy day.
It was.
I still have scrapes and bumps to prove
was
it.
quite the day.
It was a rough day, so they're going to opt to skip the Prince of Wales. A little disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, the Canadian Triple Crown is sort of something that we get geared up for. The Queen's Plate mostly. But then, it's fun to be able to see if the Plate winner can go on and win the Prince of Wales. It's a very tough series, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Poly Track, the dirt, and then the Breeder Stakes on the grass. So, I mean, I think that the fact that Uncaptured is here is going to make the race, really interesting to watch, because he was our Horse of the Year last year. He's a, very accomplished horse, and he likes the dirt. So, I mean, that's going to be the question for a lot of these horses. is how they're going to handle the dirt.
And you do get the cutback in distance just because of the configuration down at Fort Erie. Here was mile and a quarter for the plate, mile and 3/16 for the Prince of Wales. Also, the Queen's Plate always run in the Prince of Wales during the dog days of summer, where it's really hot and quite draining on the horses.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's always like the little Saratoga down at Fort Erie
Yeah.
there. You know, it gets very hot. I think, John Oxley has uncaptured a dynamic Sky who is, is a winner, a stakes winner on the dirt in Florida this year. So I think Mark Cassie's sitting pretty good in the Prince of Wales. He's also going to possibly run Jagger M. The competition is going to be Power Phil, perhaps, Robert Tiller, a horse that is an allowance winner. Negon's Glory is a maiden winner. River 7, as you said, hey, he's...
Interesting group.
Yeah, it's an interesting group, and it'll be fun to see. The distance is the question for uncaptured, but he's arguably going to be the best horse in the race, and he's going to be low odds at it.
And he will be bet off the board.
Yeah.
Staying with the Martha Gonzalez theme, 3 things that you, I'm sure, didn't know about Martha. One, she was born in France.
May we?
She was born in France. She used to sing in the church choir. She loved singing in the church choir.
Oh, we're going to have to get her to sing for us.
Yeah. Well, she won't sing for me, so she won't sing for you.
Oh, okay.
And she was a Humber Bunny. Remember when Humber College used to have the equine program?
Oh, right.
And they would come down to Woodbine. They were just given the name of Humber Bunnies. She was a Humber Bunny, and that's when she met Nick, when she came down to the racetrack. They've been together about 30 years and married 22.
Wow, that's it. I mean, they're a great team, right? Not only married, but a great team. And, another Queen's Plate win. So, good luck.
2 for 2.
Yep, good luck to them on Tuesday. And, boy, for them to win the Prince of Wales at their home track, right? Like Nick's home track, boy, that would be something if River 7 could pull that off.
Yeah, it sure would. Another edition of In the Winner's Circle comes to a close. Check out our Twitter addresses down there on your screen. And good luck with your handicapping. Lots of good grass racing coming up on the weekend. But all eyes will be on Fort Erie on Tuesday late in the day for this year's edition of the Prince of Wales. Good luck.